Hello, my name is Mel McNulty and I am the author of the upcoming novel March in Time. This is a really special video for me to be doing, mainly as a thank you to you guys, everybody who's supporting the novel, and also in celebration of the fact that March in Time is now going for its first print. The book will be available from the 5th of February next year. I'll be doing a book launch in the Scottish Storytelling Centre, so if you are in the Edinburgh area or you're not too far away, feel free to pop along. Admission is free. I'll be doing a presentation and some book signings, so if you want to pop along, please come along. You are more than welcome. So I promised you guys a spectacular treat, and that is exactly what I have in store for you. So what are you doing this Halloween? At this very moment, you might well be hiding behind the sofa while your partner watches some god-awful horror movie. You might be telling ghost stories, or you might be hiding from the doorbell and the trick-or-treaters. For pagans, Samhain is New Year. It's the time where we set out our intentions for the year ahead, and it's a time for celebrating the ancestors. It's a time where we think of those who have gone before, and we think of the future. In years gone by, people would dance at sacred sites so that the pounding of their feet may reawaken the earth. It's the time when the Cailleach Mhuir comes to the earth to guide us through winter. And it's a time for telling stories. And if you stay tuned right to the end of the video, I have a special March in Time treat for you guys as well, so stay with me. When Chapman Billies leave the street and the ruthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tap the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy, getting foo and unco happy, we think on the lang Scot smiles, the mosses, water slaps and styles that lie between us and our hame. Where sits your sulky sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth fand honest Tam O'Shanter, as he frae air I nicht did canter. All dear wha ne'er a town surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. Och, Tam, hadst thou but been sae wise as ta'en thy name wife Kate's advice. She told thee weel thou was a skellum, a bletherin', blusterin', drunken blellum, that frae November till October, in market day thou wasna sober. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think how mony counsel sweet, how mony lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale a market nicht, Tam got planted unco right, fast by an ingle, bleezing finely. The night drove on wi' sounds and clatter, and aye, the ale was growing better. Wi' secret favours sweet and precious, the suitor told his queerest stories. The landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rare and rustle, Tam didna mind the storm a whistle. Care, mad to see a man sae happy, Ian drowned himsel among the nappy. As bees flee hame wi' lades o' treasure, the minutes winged their way wi' pleasures. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all the ills o' life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread, ye seize the flower its bloom and wild, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever. Or like the borealis race that flit ere ye can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, vanishing amid the storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide, till hour approaches Tam on ride. The wind blew as 'twad blawn its last, the rattle and showers rose on the blast. The speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the deil had business on his hand. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on thro' dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fire his good blue bonnet, whilst croning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whilst glowering round wi' prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, whar ghasts and hoolits nightly cry, when, glimmering through the trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Thro' ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barclaycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn! We tip nae, we fear nae evil, we ushka we face the devil. And wow, Tam saw an unco sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion bred new fae France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys and reels, put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, where sat old Nick and shapely beast. A towsy tyke, black, grim and large, to gie them music was his charge. Coffins stood round like open presses, that showed the dead in their last dresses. And by some devilish cantrip sleet, each in its cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the haly table a murderer's banes and gibbeterums, twa spanglang vi on christen barons, a thief new cut it frae the rape, wi' his last gasp had gabbed the gape, 5 tomahawks wi' blood red rusted, 5 scimitars wi' murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his ain son o life bereft, the grey hairs yet stacked to the heft wi' mair o horrible and awfu, which e'en to name would be unlawfu. As Tammy glivered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they clicked, till ilka carlin swat and reekit. The cooster duddies tae the wark and linkit at it in her sark. Now Tam, oh Tam, had they been quains, a plump and strapping in their teens, their sarks instead o' creashy flannin, been snow with 1700 linen. But whether beldams auld and droll, rigwoody hags wad speen a foal, leiping and flinging on a crumbick, I wonder I didn't turn this stomach. But Tam kent what was fu brawly. There was a winsome wench a valley, her cutty sark o' paisley harn, in longitude though sorely scanty. It was her best, and she was vaunty. The sark she croft for her wee nanny. Wi' 2 pund Scots, 'twas all her riches, what e'er graced a dance o' witches. And how Tam stood like an bewitched, and thought his very een enriched. E'en sate and glowered and fidget fu fain, and hodged and blew wi' micht and main, till first he caper syne another. Tam tint his reason altogether, and rose, "Weel done, cutty sark!" In an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees bezoot wi' angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their bike. As eager runs the market crowd, when catch the thief resounds aloud, so Maggie runs, the witches follow, wi' mony elder screech and hollow. Ach Tam, thou'll get thy farin', and hell they'll roast thee like a herring. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do they speed the utmost meg, and win the keystane of the brig. There at them thou tail may toss, a running stream they dare nae cross. But ere the keystane she could make, the faint a tail she had to shake, for Nanny far before the rest hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle. But little was she Maggie's mettle. A spring brought off her master hale, but left behind her ain grey tail. The carlin caught her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now, wha this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son take heed. Whene'er to drink ye are inclined, or cutty sacks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys o'er dear, remember Tam O'Shanter's mare. Oh, scary stuff. Now I promised you that if you made it all the way to the end, I would give you a very special Marching Time treat, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a quick reading from the book, and it's one that I think is quite appropriate for Sylvain. A few hours later, curled up on the couch, Flora stared into the fireplace. A lady on the gramophone was singing a song about a bull in a bush, while Katie read, the clatter of a summer storm brewing outside. Do you miss it? Asked Flora, tuning her ears to the music. Sometimes, in the same way that I know you secretly miss the army, but I look at our life and I'm happy. Flora humphed through her nose. What about the movement? It'll always be there. Katie stretched and cuddled closer. I felt they had given me meaning, a purpose, but that was wrong. I still dream of the day when you and I will achieve parity with the men of this world. Mind you, look who I'm talking to. She prodded Flora's side. I'll never again let it blind me, though. Doing so cost me the friendship of a woman I truly cared for and respected. Ellaline never did forgive you, did she? No, and I honestly can't say as I blame her. I don't think using the theatre as a rallying point for a civil unrest was quite what she meant when she talked about shaping the world. I never meant for things to get so out of control, but they did. Anyway, I don't need some separate identity anymore. I belong to nothing and no one anymore unless I choose that they should have me. That's true freedom. Aye, it is that. You're a revolutionary, Katie Vaughan. A rumble of thunder made Katie shudder and Flora gave her another squeeze. Wouldn't worry about that, love. Nothing to the storms we had in the north. Katie lifted her face from Flora's chest and scratched her fingernails over the cotton of her shirt. Why don't you ever talk about home? I am home. Your heart is with me, but not your soul. I know you better than that, Flora begged. Please tell me something. Flora's lip twitched. Have you ever been by the sea in the whip of a storm? I've barely been by the sea at all. Really? Not all those years of touring about as a big draggled wee urchin? Aye, I was not. And no, we weren't really allowed out much, even if there was the time. Well, can't you imagine the rattle of a bell that clangs in the harbour? Your father's boat getting battered by gale force winds, and all you can do is pray it survives the night. The rain comes in great sheets that tumble through the thatch and hiss in the hearth and turn to tiny puffs of steam. Windows, nothing as strong as the ones you have here, threaten to shatter. It's both thrilling and terrifying to a Wayne tucked up in straw. But the best thing about a storm is the morning after. The still of bold blue waters reflecting in the sweetest sun. The air is clearer and you've endured the gain. The men will hoist their nets and the metal scent of fired earth comes strong as you till it with the how. You look up and in the distance, cloud lingers atop the sleeping giants of Scarabin's Morven and off towards Ascent. You remember this ancient land is not just yours, it belongs to both the generations beneath your feet and the barons at play. I've never heard you talk that way, it was quite poetic. I can be poetic. Nah, truthfully, I haven't talked like that in a while. It was beautiful, thank you. Must be hard to be so far away. Maybe at times, but the payoff was more than worth it. Flora winked and did her best to stifle a yawn. Well, this revolutionary says it's time for bed. As you say, my wee radical. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Happy Halloween, and a very, very merry Samhain. Slàinte.